right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra, and this is episode 2 of our Soul Purpose series. And I am super excited because I am a longtime fan of our guest here. So I'm really excited to be presenting you to Layla Martin. So I will let her introduce herself, but Layla is a fantastic YouTuber. At least that's how I discovered her, was through YouTube. And her videos are about sex, about relationships, about love, about the whole thing from A to Z. So lots of great material. So Layla, I'll let you introduce yourself to my audience.
Okay, cool. Yeah, lovely to meet you. I'm a Tantra and sexuality expert, and I started off studying sexuality more academically, and I was hungry to know kind of the truth of it. So I went to Asia, worked with tantric masters for about 7 years, and realized there's like so much that we haven't been told about sex, and these just amazing tools and techniques that make sex more epic and relationships more intimate and connected, but very few people have access to this. So I decided to bring that to people through YouTube videos.
And that's kind of crazy because, you know, I do yoga videos, which is not like, you know, doesn't make me feel shy or anything. Like it's just yoga, right? But every time I put out a new video, you get in a very vulnerable space because people are, you know, seeing you. And here you are putting yourself online so visibly, talking about anything and everything relating to sex and relationships and love. And your whole business is based around it. And like every time I see people like you, like I love you, Adina Rivers, like there's so many wonderful people doing this kind of stuff. I'm always like, oh my God, if I did that, I would just be thinking about my mom. Like I hope my mom doesn't watch this video. Bother you ever? Do you think of that?
Well, it's funny because my video that came out today actually was about like my STD, like how I'd had genital warts. So I'm like talking about how I was like looking in the mirror, trying to find a wart on my vagina. And like, yeah, it's pretty like,
you're a risk taker.
Yeah. I mean, because part of my mission basically is that, you know, it's ridiculous that we still feel ashamed of talking about something that everybody does. And it's such an important part of all of our lives. And especially for so many women and even a lot of men, like they've suffered around sexuality, like they've experienced rape or abuse or trauma, or like they're suffering in their marriages. And it's like, it's not only crazy that we don't talk about it, but it literally causes pain. So part of my personal journey was to get rid of the shame. So when people are like, how can you talk about your G-spot to like that many people? And I'm like, it's no different to me than talking about like an amazing kale salad, because like I've done the inner work that it doesn't feel different to me.
Did you have to work up to that, or straight from video 1, you were really comfortable?
So I've been teaching for a long time. So in my teaching, yes, I had to work up to it. And in my personal life, I mean, I was super shut down sexually. I experienced sexual abuse. I used to feel like really nervous about it. Even when I was 16 years old, like I wouldn't even go into Victoria's Secret because I was like, it just freaked me out to like think about bras or underwear. So yeah, I did like a lot of personal work to get over like any kind of sort of weirdness around sex.
Wow, that's crazy. And I love your boyfriend in it, your partner as well. He is adorable. It's so funny. And I'm guessing this is a little newer to him to be kind of front and center in some of these videos, but I love it. I love that both of you just have, you know, you have your motivation for why you do this. And I think that's what helps you be so transparent and be so authentic, but it's hard. It's hard. So, you know, today you are very successful. Your YouTube channel is doing really well. You have an amazing website, great mailing list and courses, all that good stuff. So I love to know, like when people are doing really well, I want to know what that looked like at the beginning. Like how long did it take you to get here? What was Layla Martin day 1, you know?
Yeah. So, so I came from a history of teaching live. So I had done loads of live workshops and loads of one-on-one sessions. So when I first decided to take that work to the internet, it was about 3 years ago. And I did what I think is very common, where me and Andrew, my boyfriend, were like, let's make an online course. And like, you know, we'll just make it so amazing. And you know, it's going to like, oh, we only have to sell it to this many people. And we'll make like $1 million. Yeah. And we were like, you know, kind of running out of money, living in the East Village in New York City in this tiny ass little apartment, like thinking like, oh, we'll make enough money to like go on vacation. And we launched my first course, Bliss, like so excited, and like no one bought it. Oh. And we,
I feel that pain.
Yeah. We sent like a bunch of like dodgy sales emails being like, it's on sale. And like no one bought it.
Please buy it. Like,
just anybody. And I still remember 2 weeks in, the first person bought it. And I do still remember like the electricity and joy in my soul of like, okay, like it, like this can work. Like it's going to take time, but it can work. And yeah, those first couple months were really hard because there was such an expectation that like, if we were doing really good work and if people resonated with the message, then it should just take off right away. But it absolutely didn't.
And what do you think contributed to it taking off?
So a couple of different things happened. One is that we had made a really good course and we'd made a really good website, and I started making the YouTube videos. So like it was all there. And we did everything really professionally. So it was really important to us to like have people be able to trust what we were doing. So we put a lot of love and attention into it. Although my first YouTube videos, like everyone, are just me like in the apartment. You can hear like the garbage truck in the background or whatever backing up.
We all start somewhere.
And we got a little bit lucky because a reporter from Your Tango wrote about my course, and then it got picked up by Huffington Post, and Playboy wanted to do an interview. And so there was this kind of really nice support
like
that
organic.
Just came out of yeah, it was really organic. And then a bunch of people bought our course that month. So we were like, okay, it's possible. And then we want to be in control of our business, because waiting for like a reporter to write about us is not a great business model. So then we started using Facebook ads and figuring out, okay, if we invest a certain amount in Facebook ads, then our audience will go on to buy our course at a certain percentage. And then we knew that we had a business that we could control.
I know for me, like I relate to that a lot because, you put your heart and soul into something and you're like, oh man, this is going to sell out. Like this is going to do so well. And then you launch and you press the button and you're like waiting. It's like, no, nothing's happening.
Crickets. Yeah.
It's so hard not to take it personally and to not like cry because you're like, but please, I swear it's really good. I swear you'll love it. Just try it. But
totally.
It's a learning curve. And like when I started for me on YouTube, I didn't have the vision of the online business. I just knew I wanted to get out there because it was something that was like bugging me for years. Like I just knew I wanted to do it. And then over time, it slowly like grew a little bit more and more. But I mean, I never imagined myself doing stuff like Facebook ads, having to learn social media marketing, having to learn like all this, stuff that I now really love and like to teach other people how to do. But 3 years ago, I would have been like, I can't do this. I don't have enough information, not enough knowledge. So do you have any kind of background like that gave you that self-esteem to just go online and run your business that way?
I just want to say really quick for anyone who's ever had no one buy their program that like I've been through some like heavy shit in my life, and those nights of like waking up and like checking in like the middle of the night to see if anyone had bought the program and like no one had were like some of the worst nights in my life because I felt like such a failure. And like that course has gone on to sell like almost $1 million. So just because your program doesn't sell in the beginning doesn't mean that it won't eventually. As far as getting skilled, I mean, so I did have a little bit of help, which is that Andrew, who's my boyfriend, was a creative director for marketing. So he did have a really good understanding of how to make things look good and how to make things work. And that's really important. But neither of us really knew anything about online stuff. None of us really knew how to sell. None of us really knew like anything about building an online business. And it's really cliche, but the only way to learn how to do it is to just do it. Like, my stuff feels like embarrassing now to me from like a few years ago, but like that was necessary and important. And I've never seen anyone who was relentless. And the thing about online is like, you just like, it's so much about the stability and the regularity. It's like every single week, you never miss it. I hated making YouTube videos. I used to cry during the filming. Yeah, it was so vulnerable. Like I felt so, I can teach really easily because teaching feels like coming from a place of authority, but YouTube is about like creativity and relationship. And that like, as a little kid who was like a huge dork in school and always felt really misunderstood, like making a YouTube video brought up all of that. And so it took so much to just be like, okay, this is really challenging and I'm going to do it every week and like nothing's going to stop me.
Well, good for you. It obviously paid off in the end, you know, because you seem seamless on camera. Like it seems like it's second nature to you. But so do you do in-person workshops or do you work in-person trainings anymore, or it's all online now?
So for the most part, the last few years, it's all been online, just online courses, but I am going to do like the first tantric experience basically, which is going to be like super amazing. Like get out of like the workshop mentality of like showing up and like just being in one room into like on like a beach somewhere with like fires and really cool dance parties, but like tantric breath work. And it's going to be amazing. So
cool. I want to go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So, I mean, do you ever like get the little iffiness? Like you're at a party, let's say, introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Layla Martin. Oh, hi, Layla. What do you do? How do you introduce yourself to people? It must come with a slew of questions. Like people must not want to leave you alone after you tell them what you do.
It does, which is awesome. And I vary. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm a Tantra and sexuality expert. Sometimes I'm like, I show people how to have epic sex and amazing orgasms. And I have to say, you know, there's two different groups of people. There's a group of people who are like evolved and they do yoga and they're totally like, wow, that's amazing. And that's so beautiful. And like, they get it. And then there's people who, you know, have been like heavily indoctrinated. Maybe they're from the Midwest and they're very Christian or something, but they, at first they're like, oh my. And then like, as soon as no one's looking, they like run to the corner and they're like, I have to tell you about this thing that's happening with my husband. And like, can you help me? And so, you know, across the board, even if people have a discomfort, like, everyone wants to know.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a great place to be at, right? And if that's what you love and that's the information that you love to share, then that's great. And I mean, I have to ask, do you feel like you end up addressing the same issues over and over? Is it the same trends reoccurring through different people, different age generations? Are we all just worrying about the same stuff?
That's actually an excellent question. I do see a very clear generational gap. Like, so I would say women 40 and over really struggle with like old conditioning that is hard for our younger generation to understand. Like we really don't get the degree to which like, you know, they couldn't even necessarily get a bank account by themselves, like where sexual harassment was like a normal thing, where like the glass ceiling wasn't like up here, like it was like right there, you know? And so they carry that in their sexuality and in their perception of themselves to a heavier degree. And I really see that they battle more with those inner demons. The younger generation tends to battle more with like comparisons to pornography and struggle with feeling beautiful and struggle to feel like, you know, is my sexuality normal? And it's like, there's so much sexuality, but so little understanding and connection to like, is this my truth? Like, what is my sexual truth? Like, what really does feel good to me? Like, who am I underneath all of this? That seems to be the question of the much younger generation.
That's interesting. I really love Esther Perel, and I saw that on your channel. You got the chance to interview her, and she's just mind-blowing in so many different ways. And I forget which interview it was, but I had seen an interview of her, and she was talking about the younger, like my, 20s, 30s-ish generation. And she was saying that in her opinion, the big problem with the younger people is that we're always thinking that the grass is greener. Like the older generation was kind of repressed in the sense that, well, you sleep with the person that you're married to and you might only have one partner for the rest of your life. And now we're young, we're sexually liberated. And all of a sudden commitment is like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to do that. And she was saying like, that's the biggest struggle for that generation. We're always just kind of looking around, seeing what else is out there, never able to say, this is good enough. I'm content, as if content is a bad word, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I do see some of that. I mean, Esther Perel, she focuses more on relationships and things like that. So I think she sees a little bit more of that. But where I really see that is that like our idea of a relationship is based on like society, literally from 100 years ago. Like 100 years ago, you're supposed to get married and spend your whole life with one person. And that was really important. And it was all just supposed to like sort of work, and like it worked if you stayed together. And so a lot of what I try and communicate to people that's really important is like relationship is actually a space to become the best and most amazing version of yourself. And we still have this like conditioning that it should look like a fairy tale. And so people do, they run from like Tinder date to Tinder date and relationship to relationship, like looking for a fairy tale experience. Mm-hmm. And that just, I mean, it only ends in heartbreak, because either it's not going to be a fairy tale, or the person looking like who's waiting for a fairy tale just keeps abandoning good people, and people get hurt, and it feels like no one ever chooses you, and all these kind of messed up things. Whereas like the person who you're meant to be with is someone who will challenge you for a lifetime and encourage you to grow. And like, you know, the things that engage us for a lifetime, like being an artist or being a musician or a career or, you know, a sport, like something that people will do forever and stay engaged with, is something that challenges them to show up more and more. So like in your art, you have to keep showing up as this like artist and visionary. In a career, you have to keep showing up with more power and more genius. And so if something is a space for that to happen, we will stay engaged for a lifetime. But sex and relationships, we have this weird idea that it should be static. Like I fall in love with you and that love should remain the same, and I should feel the same way about you and be just as attracted to you as the same day that we met, or else like it's not working. And it's a total misunderstanding. So much of what I do is trying to get people to shift into, how can sex and relationship be something like an expression of art, so that you want to do it for a lifetime. And maybe you do it with 7 people, maybe you do it with 1 person, maybe you do it with this like, series of 1 people, but the engagement is there instead of this expectation that it should be something that it can never be.
That's wonderful. I think that's very like empowering, like taking the ownership of your own relationship and your own situation back to you, instead of pushing it out to someone else for, you know, other people to kind of fix. So that's really awesome. So you are an expert. I always get curious when people are experts of any kind, whether it's in yoga and Tantra, whatever it may be. Do you feel like you have to put up a certain image to maintain that expert status? Like what if one day you don't have a libido anymore? You don't really feel like you want to have sex. It's not like you're not this Layla Martin. Like, is that something you have to juggle? Can you be real and true while still being a sex and relationship expert? Like everyone has an off day, you know? Like
Totally. You know, it's something that I stand for, that like leadership now isn't about like, I'm this perfect person and like, you should look up to me and like project perfection onto me. But like, I'm a human being. I've just spent longer doing this. Like I've spent more hours. So I have an understanding that I could offer to you, so you don't have to spend that same amount of hours, but you could have the same awesomeness. Like that's what a true expert is to me, not someone who's perfect. And yeah, of course I feel pressure. Like if me and Andrew are going through like a downtime or like, you know, whatever. But, you know, I try and be as open as possible, because I have seen a lot of relationship experts say like, oh, we have to hide the fact that we're in an open relationship because people wouldn't respect us. Or, you know, a lot of marriage therapists who are like, oh, I haven't had sex with my husband in like literally 30 years.
No, we're separated. Yeah,
totally. And I believe like, not only do I stand for more amazing relationships and sex lives for people, but I also stand for the evolution of our culture and our society. And I don't believe I do anyone a favor by projecting perfection where there is no perfection. So I remain honest and open about stuff, and own, like I do also see a lot of women shy away from owning their greatness. So like, I am willing to say like, yes, like I do actually have an amazing relationship, and I do have an incredible sex life. And of course, sometimes it doesn't work, or like it all goes pear-shaped, but it's like it's a balance of both to me.
Like the goal is not to always be perfect all the time. The goal is to know what to do when you need to kind of bring it back up again, right? Like you're just teaching people to apply their tools. So do you have a teacher, or like, are you kind of just relying on the knowledge that you've learned throughout the years? Like, are there other people that you look up to and work with?
Absolutely. So I have a really cool Tantra teacher, Sarita, who I've now been working with for going on my 4th year with her. I've had many teachers for years. And as someone like who came up in the classical yogic and Tantra tradition, I have a lot of respect for tradition and wisdom. And I consider myself to be someone who's going to evolve for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. And one of those humble things I had to say to my audience is I've spent 13 years on the path of Tantra, and I've spent a year now letting go of all my like spiritual beliefs of knowing. And, you know, that's been really humbling because I'm like, well, shit, not only did I spend 13 years to get to like, what, you know, honestly, I don't know, which is, you know, really incredible. But I feel like part of, you know, being humble and staying connected is always learning, like never feeling like, oh, I'm done now. Like, I don't feel like I'll ever be done.
Yeah. And when you say you studied Tantra for so long, like I think when a lot of people hear Tantra, they think sex because that's what it's associated with, you know, especially in the West, but pretty much everywhere now people just associate it with sex, but it's a lot more than that, right? Like it's an entire philosophy. So have you focused more of your Tantra learning on the sexual relationship aspect of it? Or are you just like a full Tantra student and learning it from A to Z? Because it's huge and it will take you a lifetime.
Absolutely. Yeah, I should keep that in mind when I say I've been doing Tantra for 13 years. People are like, does she have like some kind of magical bedroom or she just like spent 13 years having sex? Yeah, no, exactly like you say, it's a wisdom tradition from India. And one of the best ways to understand Tantra is that yoga actually comes from the Tantric tradition.
Yeah.
So yoga is a Tantric practice. And so everything that you find in yoga, that being present, connecting with your deepest self, letting go of the mind, working with energy, working with different parts of your body that activate different levels of consciousness, you find all of those same things in Tantra. It's just that Tantra has a wider base of experience. So it also includes and celebrates sexuality and relationship and eating and wild dance and all kinds of things with these yoga
pleasure and experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I spent 13 years doing.
That sounds like fun.
It was so fun. It was also really challenging at points, but it was super fun.
And so like if I'm a beginner viewer at home and I don't know much about Tantra, but based on what you're saying, find it interesting, what would you recommend someone start with? Like what's the first point?
Yeah. So I have like lots of YouTube videos on Tantra that talks about Tantra for beginners and practical tools to understand, and some more philosophical videos. There's not any really great like go-to, like there's a couple of books on Tantra.
They're hard to read.
That are hard to read. And honestly, it'd be like if you'd never done yoga in your life and you tried to read like Patanjali, like it would be a little bit like, I don't really get it. So beyond that, so a lot of my online courses are based in the foundation of Tantra. And then, you know, I would always say working with a live teacher is super amazing. And it is hard to find good quality teachers. There's a lot of people out there who are a little weird, who are calling themselves Tantra teachers and maybe not practicing with integrity. But like I said, my teacher, Sarita, she teaches a lot in Europe. She's one of the ones that I can highly recommend. There's another teacher, Minka DeVos, that I can highly recommend. But if you start doing research and looking around and stuff, you can find people who are teaching.
Awesome. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure we'll get a lot of people here from watching the video that are going to want to learn more about this and do more like that. So you've done the in-person thing, you've done the online thing, both are going really well. What's next?
What's next? So I have a coaching certification program. So I'm training people to basically take this tantric wisdom that is so effective at creating transformation, but do it in a 1 hour coaching session, because I also feel like, you know, not everyone wants to go and do a class, or not everyone has access to a teacher. So being able to do like rapid transformation and certifying people to be able to do that, and also to work with sexuality in a way that's like really integrated and trustworthy. I feel like that's so necessary and important for the evolution of our society. So that's a big next step. And eventually I think I'm going to create like an amazing center for Tantra, which is like, that's kind of my big dream.
That's cool. It's good to have a really big dream that scares you a little when you say it.
Totally.
You know, it's a good one when you're like, oh, you gotta really
could it really be that magical?
You never know. You know what? Maybe in 5 years we'll be talking again and you'll be at that center.
Totally.
Right? I mean, you only started YouTube like 2 years ago and it has completely blown up. Like, I think people really just underestimate how much we can really accomplish in a short period of time if we really, dedicate ourselves to the vision and put our blinders on and just go, go, go. So I would not be surprised if you were able to do that eventually. That'd be awesome. So that is great. I want to mention your book. So when I first found you, I don't know how, just on YouTube. You know how YouTube goes. You start searching something and you end up like watching cat videos or something.
Or Tantra videos.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess one day that's what happened. And I found your videos and I like watched so many of them and I just really liked it because it was so, feels like you're talking to a friend, you know, you're not talking to an expert or like a teacher looking down on you. It's just like a very authentic, easy conversation. So then I went over to your website and I got your book and I think it's still available on your website. It's like I should look at.
Is it Wild Woman in the Bedroom?
Guide or something.
Oh, the Epic Sex Guide. Okay, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. I just wanted to mention it because I want everyone who's watching it to go and get that book because I loved it. It's short and sweet and to the point, but like I was so surprised with like the amount of quality information that you were just putting out there. I find sometimes in the online world, people worry about, oh, I don't want to give away all my information because then no one will want to work with me. And the opposite is true, you know, because you put it all out there, it made me drawn to you even more. And it made me want to reach out to you and connect with you and support your other endeavors. So definitely thank you for that book. I think it is wonderful. And I think everyone should go and sign up for your mailing list. Definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so you all can do that at laylamartin.com. The book's totally free. You can download it right away. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. So as we wrap things up, I like to ask everyone if there is one book that you could get everyone in the world to read, what would it be?
Oh, one book. Oh, that's a really good question. So right now I'm living the multi-orgasmic man and woman. So it's it's like a classic, but it's really good for understanding these practices in like a deeper way.
All right. I will go look it up. And last but not least, is there any kind of final message that you would like to get across to our viewers before we wrap up this call? I know I'm like putting the biggest, hardest questions at the end.
Just like, yeah, when it comes to evolving sexually and in relationships, there's like going from like any kind of suffering or challenge or pain to like just integration and wholeness. But after integration and wholeness, there's a whole world of amazingness that's like so incredible. Like people are really just like contacting the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our sexual potential as humans and our intimacy potential and our love potential. So like, even if it's scary or feels like people get nervous, I know how common that is when we talk about these things. Doing that work really brings you to like an experience of sex, love, and relationships that's just so meaningful and profound.
One last question, just because that sparked it for me. Do you think that's the kind of work, like if you're in a relationship, do both people need to have done this kind of work for you to reach those kinds of results that you're looking for? Not everyone is going to be into it.
That's true. You can get a lot just by working yourself and doing your own journey. And I think that's really essential. Sometimes people rely too much on their partners or use their partner as an excuse. So like you do the work yourself, you can get a lot of clarity. But eventually, yeah, you want to be with someone who is at least open to the journey, if not actively doing the process with you.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Layla. This was awesome. So fun. And exactly what I thought it was going to be and not at the same time. I love it. It's all the great little bits of wisdom in there. So thank you very much for agreeing to come on to Soul Purpose with me. It was just an absolute pleasure to have you. And I will link to all the viewers out there, I will link Layla's information down below in the description box. So if you want to visit her website, sign up for our mailing list, get the ebook, social media, all that jazz. It's going to be down there. So thank you all so very much for watching. And thank you very much, Layla, for coming on.
You're so welcome.
Please subscribe to my channel. I put out a new video every single Thursday, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.